little bit closer here so we get sound good. I'm gonna, let's see. Okay. Alright, how about go anytime?
Okay. In the middle of the circle is just one human against another, matching their strategy, strength, and technique. Which wins it for you?
You know, I feel like it's a little bit of everything. I don't have much strength against my opponents, but I've been wrestling a lot longer than most of mine. So I would say it's mostly speed and technique for me.
How old were you when you started wrestling?
4 or 5.
Really? Competitively?
4 was more of, just take me a couple tournaments. And then when I was 5, I went to my first national tournament.
Really? Wow. You want to answer that one?
Sure. For me, technique and strength plays a big part in my wrestling style. I just go out there and try to feel them out a little bit at first and do what I do.
Do you want to continue wrestling in college, and if so, where?
That's a question for me. I'm not sure. It's up for grabs. I mean, I like football. I like wrestling too. And whichever one offers one.
Whichever one. If one, say one wants a Division II and one's a Division I, would that make a difference?
Yeah, I'll probably go to Division I.
Yeah.
That's where I want to go.
I'm planning on wrestling too. I already signed with UNI.
You already signed with UNI?
Yeah.
All right. And was it the program, the school, the coach, the education?
It was more like the coach and like the people I would know there, and how good the program was going to be in a few years.
What's the most important thing you learned from your current coach?
Dan, the most important thing I learned from him is just relax, take it easy, have fun what you're doing. You can't overthink it, or else you go out there and do something you didn't plan.
I agree. Also, I feel like he also taught us that you can only prepare so much, and once you get to that stage of your peak ability, there's no point in even practicing for 4 hours every night.
What's the hardest part of wrestling? The practice?
Practice.
Cutting weight? The practice?
I'd say it's practice, like beginning of the year, starting out, just
drilling,
trying to get into the grind.
All the constant drilling that we do, it gets annoying.
Is it hard to make weight? Is there tricks you use to make weight? Nutrition you follow?
I don't eat. So I do.
Well, the past 2 years I haven't really cut weight, so I feel like that works pretty nice.
Is it easier to go up in weight or down in weight?
It all depends. If you want all of your strength and your speed, you probably want it to stay where you're at. But if you're confident with having what you're going to be able to use when you go to the lower weight,
It's a strategy. If you can cut weight good and stay strong, then go down and wrestle smaller guys. But if you can't do that, there's no point.
So that's where some of the strategy comes into it. Did the trip to Minnesota help you when you wrestled at state?
The trip, it helped me. There's a lot of tough matches. That's where I got my first loss out of the season. And showed me where I'm at. And kind of not on top of the mountain yet. But I keep working. Trying.
I mean, getting beat 17-7 for me.
Really?
I already knew I wasn't the best, but that definitely
confirmed it.
Yeah, I didn't feel too good after that match. I couldn't do anything, and I didn't really care. I just kind of smiled and walked off.
Do you have a favorite move, a go-to move you use?
Butcher.
I like to do a blast double. Come down nice and low. Let him walk in and just boom, hit it.
Do you study your opponent? Have you learned any moves from your opponents that you've incorporated into yours?
I don't really like to study my opponents. Up at state, the coaches try to make you go to the room and look at your guy with them. They'll tell you what you want to do. I really just like to go out there and just go with the flow and do what I know I can do.
Honestly, that's how Dan Gable lost his only match, is because he studied his opponent and he would just do what he would normally do. And
Opponent got into his head.
Opponent got into his head, so if you just do what you know how to do, then.
Speaking of Dan Gable, he once said that once you've wrestled, everything else in life is easy. Do you agree?
I think that's a relative term. Like, wrestling is really hard, but there's a lot of other things in life that get you, bring you down. You just gotta keep your head up, keep going.
Yeah, I find pickleball kind of hard. I mean, after wrestling, it's not like I'm any better at hitting the ball across the court. So.
Does the discipline you learned in wrestling help you with other parts of your life?
Yeah.
Help you
Most
study for tests
like
better?
hitting, yeah, studying and being able to manage your time correctly and everything like that.
Iowa coach Tom Brands has said the key to team unity is gut-busting workouts. Do you agree? And what's the most gut-busting workout you've had to do?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you're all going through it. Everybody's feeling the pain. Everybody gets a little closer. Sense of accomplishment when you're done. You know your partner. You guys went through it together. So you're a little closer.
Yeah, I agree too. I mean, as long as everybody does the whole workout, like some people, they might leave in the middle because they can't handle it, but if nobody leaves,
Brands also said when a wrestler wins, all credit goes to the wrestler, but when he loses, it's the coach's fault. Do you agree with that statement?
I think that's like a fan's point of view, looking at it. Fans, they try to make excuses for the wrestlers a lot. They blame it on the coach, and it's not his fault, it's just a kid. I think it just falls down on the wrestler, period. He's the one wrestling.
I agree. Win or lose, it's the wrestler's fault. His fault if he won, his fault if he lost.
Inside the circle, lessons are learned that go beyond wins and losses. What have you learned about life from wrestling? Is there anything that happened on the mat that you used for motivation in other parts of your life? Like that 17-7 loss in Minnesota? Does that you call on that as motivation anytime, or?
Sometimes, but I feel like my most motivational match was, being able to get fourth at state with a broken hand. I feel like if I can do that, I can do probably anything I want to.
I don't think I've been motivated in wrestling for that. I don't know. Can't think of it.
Adam, why did you choose UNI?
I was dead set on the Air Force Academy, and when I told the UNI coach that I wasn't going to be going there, he said, "I'm coming to your house tomorrow night." So he drove 2.5 hours to my house Wednesday night. He sat at my table with an assistant coach and talked to me for a good hour or two about why I should come to UNI. And I realized that he wasn't going to give up. So
You also had an offer from Princeton?
yeah, I don't think I'm smart enough to go to Princeton. Honestly, when they told me that. They're just like, yeah, you're smart, but you're at the bottom. And I'm just like, if I'm at the bottom, there's people that drop out all the time, and I'm almost guaranteed to be a part of that group. So I figured Princeton wasn't going to be a good choice.
You guys flew out after the football game, didn't you, to go to Princeton, or
Yeah, we flew out the next morning.
next morning? What was a trip like there? I mean, to go see the campus and everything.
Oh, the campus is beautiful. Same as Air Force Academy. I mean, Princeton campus obviously old, so it has its own beauty. And Air Force is brand new, huge, has its own mountain. So it's pretty cool.
Did being close to home have any effect on going with UNI?
Yeah, it did. Quite a bit.
Any other questions?
That's all the questions I got.
Yeah. All right. Oh, I forgot to push the record button. No, I'm joking.
Thank you, guys.